Would you be able to survive 100 days in a desert island?
We are Georgia and Diego, and this is our home, Unforgettable. For the past 5 years, we've been sailing the planet. Our challenge now is to continue the adventure as our family grows. Subscribe and join our life at sea.
Good morning, Morea! Today we are going to sail, but we won't be sailing Unforgettable. We're going to sail Agape. Agape is our friend's boat, and we are going with them to Tahiti. We have a medical appointment to see how the baby is, and they're going to Tahiti, and we're gonna take a ride with them. It's always nice to sail other boats. Don't you ever get tired of sailing? Now you're gonna sail other people's boats?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to eat something before we leave, really quick.
So you don't get seasick, right?
It's gonna be nice to get a ride to Tahiti. So we just come back by ferry.
All right, but to go there we need a dinghy, and this is where Lari comes. Good morning.
É uma carona?
Desculpa te tirar da cama cedo.
Você manipulou nossa alarme de âncora.
Sério?
É 10 minutos antes.
Eu sou hacker. Linda manhã.
Bom dia.
Ainda comendo.
Eu já tinha muito
Oi, HP.
I let the current sweep me aside. The rushing water knows no bounds or tender matters such as life. It's been so long since I believed myself. Time to dry my pride. So hear me, brother, the time has come to mend the broken, nurse the fire of every night that's come done. Pick up a pace, we're headed west. This journey's just begun.
You filming that?
Yeah.
From everything I have was set aside. Look back now and realize that everything I've wanted was always mine.
How good is it to not to be involved in anchoring or navigation? Just enjoy the ride. Beautiful morning. Thank you guys.
So we made to Tahiti, guys, with our friends Rachel and Josh, and this is Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
Rachel is a model, and now
Was a model.
she's
Sorry.
working behind the cameras. Super talented photographer. This is their beautiful boat, Agape.
Welcome on board.
Which boat is this, Rachel?
It is a Tiana 42.
Oh, nice. I really like
Yeah.
it.
And we got new crew member this year.
Who is this one?
Ah.
Hello. Hi. This is Gilly, right?
Gailey.
Hello, Gilly.
Can give you a tour of our front cabin
Yes.
where the magic happens.
This is where you and Josh sleep?
Yes. Small bathroom.
Small? No, I love your bathroom. This is huge. Yes.
Salon. Very small, quick boat tour. But it's been home for 7 years now. 2 years before leaving, and then this is our 5th year sailing now.
What are the boys doing?
Instagram, back in the land of technology.
How about you, Diego?
Same, just checking the latest. Not much happening here. And yeah, we arrived here in Tahiti. Soon we'll go down for lunch before our appointment. And I'm grateful and happy because this passage sometimes can be not so nice, and this morning was just smooth and nice. We had a great time with these legends here, so
Easy, just listening to the diesel.
wow.
Josh, at some point I saw Diego behind the wheel, just like in the captain's spot. How do you feel about that?
Hey, if he wants to work the helm, that's fine with me.
This crew doesn't know their place, right?
I know mine though. Rachel is boss, Diego is helmsman, you're the videographer, and I'm in the galley cooking.
Great breakfast, by the way.
Come and see.
When we looked at boats originally, the only thing that I said I didn't want was a boat with a lot of teak or a lot of wood on the outside, because you always have to varnish and take care of it. But this is the one that Rachel liked, so this is the one that we got. So it's a cutter rig. It just means that it has one mast with a boom and then 2 head sails. So jib or Genoa and a staysail. But it makes it very good for when it's heavy weather. It gives you more and more options.
This is a Bob Perry design, very seaworthy boat.
So this one is Robert Harris, but yep, Bob Perry did like the Tiana 37 and 52, and I think Harris did the 42 and the 55, I think.
Which year is she?
So this is a 1984, so she's just celebrating like her, 37 years old or something?
Nice.
But yeah, still good, still strong.
In great shape, good job, Captain.
Yeah, a little bit of varnish work, but nothing too bad.
So we've lived aboard for 6 years now, almost 7. We lived in California for 2 years on the boat first before leaving, and back in November 2016 we left Southern California and spent 1 year in Mexico, 1 year in Central America, and have been here in French Polynesia now for 2 years.
With no plans of leaving. We're gonna try and stick really close to you guys for as long as French Polynesia will have us.
Yeah, and I don't see any reason to leave, man. This place is...
It's not a bad place to be stuck,
No,
locked down.
not at all.
Yeah.
Talking about being stuck and locked down, I think you guys, you have the coolest story about all the craziness about Corona. You guys had just like an amazing story, and I think you made the most of it.
Well, we left March 5th, and we had heard of Corona. It was kind of spreading in other countries. We had no idea that the borders would close.
It was still like a really far off thing, you know, like, oh, it's in China, and oh, it might be here and maybe here, but it was like a really bad flu. So and we planned on going for 2 weeks, so we'd like bought 2 weeks worth of food, and we're like, yeah, we'll go to this uninhabited island that's Tahane. It's really beautiful. It's the most amazing place that I think we've been yet, but we were only going to be there for 2 weeks.
We're there, some friends had satellite phones, and they messaged and said that the borders were closing and that we were supposed to be staying where we were at. And yeah, so 2 weeks turned into 3 months.
Yeah. So at the time the option was either you can stay where you are or come back to Tahiti. But if you came to Tahiti, they weren't allowing people to even swim off of their boats, and it's like you could only anchor in certain places. We had heard all this stuff and it didn't sound very appealing, so we decided to stay.
Yeah, there we were free. There was no internet, no grocery stores, no provisions or anything, but we could swim, we could go fishing, we could go move about within the atoll where we wanted, and we had friends, so it was nice. But yeah, 3 months of being off grid. The water maker broke, generator was acting up, the outboard died. What else broke? Something else broke.
It's a boat.
Oh, the
Everything
batteries. Yeah, so it was very simple living, but it was really fulfilling.
So I think when you think about 3 months away in a desert island, the main concern is food. How you dealt with that?
We ran out of vegetables fairly early on.
Yeah.
And so we ate a lot of coconuts. We got really creative with that. I learned how to make coconut cream ice cream, and we made our own coconut milk for fish curries. And
Like the last onion, you know, you get to the last onion and onions aren't anything even special, but then all of a sudden you're cutting it in half and
in quarters,
in half again and
in
just like a
eighths.
little bit, and you're like, shoot, that was it. That's all of it. To be really like,
Isolated.
yeah, isolated, like castaways. Like as a kid, that's what I dreamed of, was being like Robinson Crusoe. And then that was like, you have unlimited time and you can be as childlike as you want because there's nobody there to judge you except for my boss. And so
Yeah, there's
it
no
was-
social obligations. We had no internet, so we couldn't actually send any emails. There was no people to message or respond to, no social media to scroll for hours. And yeah, so Josh built a sailing raft, a catamaran, and we had all kinds of...
Catamaran is a stretch. It was a raft.
It floated and it sailed.
So yeah, because exactly what you said, we think about cruising and being like on very remote places, but that doesn't happen so often, and you have the ultimate experience to live in a place like that for so long.
It was awesome.
And that brought some the best of you. I think you dealt with that with a great attitude, and instead of panic, you just like make the most of it.
People on the outside look and they're like, oh well, he's the captain, like what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? And I was trying to think of like making a good decision for Rachel and I and where to put the boat. And then after a while and like messaging with my parents in Hawaii, they're like, you're in paradise. What are you talking about? Like there's coconuts, there's fish, there's water.
No virus.
No virus, like you stay there as long as you can. And then it was like a mind shift going, we're not trapped here, like we can leave if we want to, but man, this is paradise. Why would we ever want to leave?
I think also realizing that the people, like the Tahitians and the Paumotu people, have lived there for hundreds, thousands of years without all the amenities that we had. So just that realization of, okay, we can survive, we can, like when our water maker failed, we collected rainwater, and there was a cistern had been sitting for a long time, but we filtered the water. It had some red worms in it, but we were able to use that for showering and dishes.
We were looking for extra protein anyway, so...
But just realizing that we didn't need that much to be happy or even to survive, that simplification process that was forced on us actually made us happier in the long run. So we're hoping to head back there this week. We didn't have enough of it.
Yeah, we're roughly 1 year, that was 1 year ago, and now you're going back to the same place?
Yeah.
Just to actually disconnect with that intention of getting off of our phones, slowing down.
But now we go back with a working water maker, a new outboard, and we're gonna go to the grocery store and buy like some fresh stuff.
We came back. I saw that video from Josh actually fighting with sharks for a fish. that was crazy, man.
But
there's at least always half a dozen sharks swimming around our boat. There is 6 to 10 sharks always there because there's no people, and the reefs are healthy. There's healthy populations of fish, so there's healthy shark populations, which means there's lots of sharks.
Yeah.
And so anytime we needed to go to the grocery store, we'd hop into the sea and go spearfishing, but usually it was with 6 to 10 companions that also wanted our dinner. So a few times we lost fish to the sharks. They were never aggressive towards us. They were really quick and fast. They would be waiting and watching, and as soon as we got the fish, they would just come straight in for it, and we never felt like we were in danger, but we had to sometimes fight them for our dinner.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. I would stick with the coconut.
Man. Yeah. No, it was really fun.
used to communicate was through a satellite device with like a short message. Is that right?
Yeah, it was very like old school. Like think Nokia phone kind of like Snake.
We have the Garmin InReach, and it's 160 characters per message, so no internet access. Family and friends would kind of relay the big information to us via that.
Everything was just simplified. Everything was a little bit low tech.
Oh, we did get really lucky 2 months in, after we had run out of all of our carrots, our last onion, our last potato. 2 mega yachts were on their way back to Tahiti, and their owners were going to charter a private plane to fly back to the US, and they saw us on AIS and radioed us and said, hey, we're headed back to Tahiti, do you need anything? And we were like, yes please, like rice, butter, any kind of fresh food that you have. And when they came, they brought us a watermelon, avocados. It was like better than Christmas morning. They gave us so much chicken. They gave us chicken after like 2 months of only fish. It was.
They were really, really generous, super cool.
That allowed us to stay the extra month much comfortably.
Tahanea is just like 3 days sailing from Tahiti, more or less.
Yeah.
2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And no population, no villages, nothing.
Yep.
There's a couple shacks from copra farmers. They come and collect the coconut meat to make coconut oil. And so occasionally we'd see some locals from another atoll nearby come, and we shared some meals and learned some of the local language, which is different than Tahitian, Paumotu. And, but yeah, for the most part it's completely uninhabited, abandoned.
There used to be a village near one of the passes, but
there's not enough water there to support a village. So
I think for like at least 40 years nobody's lived there.
Yeah.
Would you say that there was a life-changing experience? And if so, how did that change you?
I think so. I mean, we're so busy and so schedule-oriented and connected all the time. Like, we always have internet, we always have Instagram or some social media.
To distract us.
Yeah, and we never really completely sit with ourselves and really are able to relax. Like, I thought I had relaxed before, but when you have nothing to do and you can just hang a hammock and sit there and read a book all day and not feel guilty at all, it's a very weird and strange feeling. But then you kind of realize that maybe the Tahitians had it right all along. Like, they only work enough to get what they need, and they don't try and like stack a bunch of cash and have a bunch of extra stuff.
For me, it was learning how little I needed to be happy. You know, we're always being advertised to. As soon as you come back to Tahiti, you go to the store, you're driving on the road, you realize how many signs there are, and anytime you get on your phone, you're just constantly being advertised to, and how our brains work. It's like, oh yeah, I want that, I need that. And there we had no access to anything. When the outboard broke, the water maker broke, we just couldn't fix it. And because there was no option, we didn't spend time thinking about those things. We didn't spend time worrying about it, or the things that we wanted and needed. And it was just this really nice simplification process of saying like, okay, we don't need this, we can't have it, so let's just move on with our day. And we were a lot happier.
Actually, I think, so we were there with two other boats, two boats that we know, Bella Marina and Yamaya, or Not Vikings. And after 3 months of doing life with other people, like cut off from everybody else, but we did have other people, how cool it is to have like real community. And maybe that's something that we miss now is, you know, if you're on land, you pull into your house, you shut the door, and you're kind of almost isolated. Even if you live with neighbors close by, you isolate yourself. But there, every day we were doing the same thing. Like, we would go to the grocery store, we'd go spearfishing, like we'd do that together, and then
do laundry days
we'd do laundry, we'd cook meals together. Everything was kind of like a little village, you know? And that was really, really cool. That was a super special experience, because usually you don't live life like that. And even having to rely on each other, I think sailors and like cruisers are kind of notoriously independent. We all like to have our own little capsules. But when our water maker broke, like Yamaya and Bella Marina helped us by making water for us, and like we all helped each other doing little things. So we were we all would have been okay on our own, but it was nice to feel like everybody was needed and everybody was like pitching in.
You had your little tribe with you, and did you had any feeling just like a primitive or primal feeling or living? Did you think about like ancient cultures or things like that? Did you felt anything like that?
We almost ran out of our butane. We didn't know how much longer it was going to last. Usually the tanks last us 3 months, and it was a miracle. It lasted us almost 6 months. But in order to save what we had left for coffee in the morning, we would actually go to shore to bake. So Josh built an oven on shore, and we would burn coconut husks, and he'd bake bread, and we cooked beans, and we made empanadas and all kinds of things in the beach oven in order to like save propane, and definitely hunting for our own food. Josh built his own pole spear because he was like, why not try to make something more primitive and see if I could actually survive without all the things that we brought. So
it was perfect, like the perfect experience.
I think this just put in evidence the benefits of living in a boat, that at least for little moments like that on a crisis, you can get hold of your faith, or of you have your destiny in your hands.
Well, it's what we had been preparing for, like to cross an ocean, to be able to survive on our own, and it was a real test of how prepared we were. So, and even now that as we're getting ready to go back, I have very little stress about the whole situation, because that was the worst case scenario, was getting trapped without food or water or access to things for long periods of time, and we went in underprepared, and it felt like we thrived even with so little. So this year we're going more prepared, and even if we run out of something or something breaks, I don't have the anxiety around it anymore. It's like, okay, then we do without. You find a way to make do with what you have, and we're not gonna starve. We're not gonna,
You guys are legends. I liked you before, but after that you just like went high on my list. You because you faced everything with a great attitude, and I think that made all the difference, because you could have panicked, you could have stressed out, you could have like fought, or just like turning that situation in a bad one, but you just like you made
Josh
the best
had
of
his
it.
moments of anxiety in the beginning. I was one really fighting, saying like, look at the
like,
Polynesians have been here for a long time without any of the comforts that we have here on the boat. Like, I think we're gonna be fine, and I'm glad we stayed, because I think because of that it really did change our lives, and it was a once in a lifetime experience. So.
And you shared your story with some magazines in the US. Which one featured your story?
Latitude 38 in Sailing Magazine, and then in the UK, Yachting World.
Thank you so much for sharing the story for our audience.
Absolutely.
I'm sure everybody will be thrilled to hear about. Follow them online through them Instagram, Voyages of Agape, or By Land by Sea, and Rachel Moore. We put all the links in the description. And yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah,
And sailing with us.
that was great.
Sailing, no
Motoring.
sailing.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. If you did, please leave your thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. See you next Thursday.